it's a different kind of melody, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very unique, unusual. Okay, so let's see, Muriel said the dollar bill one. Okay, so I have another joke.
Oh, yes.
Because one of the things about, riding the roller coaster, one of the things that we can do when things are like dipping down and it's not so much fun, is to laugh, all right? That's why I do this. Okay, so this one is called Who Believes? In a small Texas town, a new tavern business started constructing a building in which to open up a bar. The local Baptist church began a campaign to block the bar from opening with petitions and prayers. Work progressed, however, right up until the week before opening, when lightning struck the bar and it burned to the ground. But wait, the church folks are rather smug in their outlook until the bar owner sued the church on the grounds that the church was ultimately responsible for the destruction of his building, either through direct or indirect actions or means. In its response to the lawsuit, the church vehemently denied all responsibility or any connection to the building's demise. As the case made its way into court, the judge looked over the paperwork. At the hearing, he commented, "I don't know how I'm going to decide this, but it appears from the paperwork that we have a bar owner who believes in the power of prayer and an entire church congregation that doesn't." Oh! Whoa! That was good, right? All right. Well, I am talking today about riding the roller coaster, right? Yeah, riding the roller coaster, accepting. Oh, she put accepting what is. Okay, that's not it. But anyway, that's the other one too. So I guess it works both ways. But riding the roller coaster. Did anybody see the movie Parenthood?
Yes.
Okay, so remember when they have all the kids and there's chaos. Whenever you have kids or grandkids, it's kind of what happens, right? And they're going to be who they are. Children are children. And so in the story, the wife says to the husband of these children, and she says, you just have to learn to ride the roller coaster. And he goes, what do you mean by that? He says, there's always going to be ups and downs in life. There's always going to be something that's going to happen. So they're at a play, at a school play, and all of the scenery falls down, and I don't know, the costumes go awry. Do you remember the part of the movie? And then what happens, he looks over at her, and he can tell she's riding the roller coaster and just enjoying it. And they both started laughing, and the whole group started laughing, and everybody enjoyed. Whether or not the play went on, it didn't matter. It's that everybody enjoyed watching these children. They're all fumbling, the teacher's going crazy. It was something that we can use in our life, right? So when we ride the roller coaster, it's about acknowledging what's so. And a lot of times we have something in our mind. I'll talk to friends and they'll say, oh, I have this huge issue. And I'll say, well, okay, that's good. But my daughter and I was at dinner with them, and what they do with the children, they use this thing every single night. And they say, what was the rose that happened for you today? Meaning, what was the good thing that happened for you today? And they're having this little 5-year-old and 2-year-old come up with a wonderful thing that happened for them today. So they're like, what was my rose today? Oh, I got to play with Sophie, or whatever it was for her. And then for us, I'm looking, I'm going, what was my rose today? And I'm thinking, oh yeah, I get to be with my grandkids. That's fabulous. But then they said, what was your thorn today? What was the thing that wasn't so great in your life? And this is what I'm going to have you work on right now. So the thorn could have been, whatever it was. Oh, so-and-so yelled at me in the playground, or whatever it was. Or maybe Paul, and then her husband says, well, I had to let somebody go today. That was a big thorn for me. And I thought, wow. So how can we use this in our work on consciousness? And how can we work with ourselves? Because we have a lot of thorns in our life, don't we? It's kind of like, you're going up the roller coaster and everything's all cool, and then you're thinking, oh, I just don't want to have that horrible, for me, I don't want to go down and have that rush. It's scary as heck for me. And for other people, they want that. So it depends on where you are, correct? So when you look at thorns, it's looking at what's going on in your life and how can you find the rose in the thorn, okay? So let me give you some examples. Art and I were over in Portugal, and I don't think I never really explain or talk about my thought processes because, you know, why? It's just a story in my mind. And it really is, because Jim Drever always says, you know, he always says, Reverend Maryum, you know, we're all just making up stories of our lives. And I said, oh, geez, you're right. Because we are the creators, the director, the producer of our lives. We are. I hate to tell you, but we're the ones that create our reality. If we have a happy, joyful experience on our lives, and we can create that to happen. If we're always focusing on negativity, that's going to happen too. So I thought, you know, there was one trip, and I always thought, gosh, you know, it's like, let me just put myself out a little bit. And you don't know this, but, and you probably laugh, but I actually am more of an introvert than an extrovert. Okay, I get up here and I do my talks and I go, ha ha ha. And so I get up here and do my talks, but then at that trip I said, I'm gonna put myself out there because I'm not a raging extrovert. And there's people that are, okay? My son-in-law, oh my God, party, party, all the time, like non-stop, never tires, could sleep 4 hours, oh my gosh. I'm like, okay, that's so not me. But I thought, well, how about if I put a little bit of effort out and start to, you know, extrovert a little more and push myself and grow with that. And so as I did that, you know, I was so proud of myself. And then what happened is that a few people didn't like me or didn't like Art and I and wouldn't sit with us in dinner. And it was not a big deal because there was lots of people on the trip. But I took it personally. And then I'm taking Muriel's course and I'm thinking back on this and I'm thinking, wow, what was that about? And whenever we have something like that, okay, so the rose was I grew and I expanded. The thorn was I was all upset because, well, they don't like me, meh. And then I realized there's always something underneath that we have to reveal in order to heal, okay? And what it was being a little kid and being ignored on the playground. So what I want you to get present to is that when we do this work and when we're doing spiritual work, it's about looking at that and saying, how can I transcend that? How can I notice what's going on and create a rose out of that? So my rose was obviously doing the, you know, and I still stepped out there and I still did what I did. The other thing I'm not going to ever do on the trip again is what Dr. Mark says in North Hollywood. Don't ever tell anybody you're a minister on a trip. You know why? I'll tell you why. They do not want to talk to you. They have this old school traditional belief system about you. You know, Art's on the golf course and they'll say, and you go, oh yeah, my girlfriend's a minister. And they go, oh, well you must have to really be not cuss around her or say any swear words. And Art goes, oh, he goes, are you kidding me? She's worse than I am. And so that's the paradigm though, right? That people have these certain thoughts about us. So I'm going to be a life coach on this next trip. That's all I'm going to tell you. And then that way they're like, oh, cool. Yes. But isn't that interesting? Yes. So I can shift it in a moment because I can't change reality, but I can change what I want to change in my life, right? So with that, when we have things that are going up and down, how many of you have just a constant, steady ride all your life? Anybody here? Yeah, never, right? Oh, I need to find a place to live. Oh, I had a car accident. Oh, I have a health condition. Whatever the case may be. And it's not going to always be like roses. You're going to have a lot of thorns in your life. You're going to ride that roller coaster and it's going to be really fun at times and really scary at times. But at the end of the day, what happens is that we always have Spirit and God to take care of us. We always do, but we have to have that trust and belief and faith. Because I know for me, I'll think, gosh, I really would love this to happen, and then I throw it aside, okay? So I'm going to give you another example. I had redone or remodeled my guest house, and this is now going on 3 years. And I was still paying the man that helped me remodel. And I'm paying, and I'm paying, and I'm paying, and I'm paying. because I want to be in integrity and I want that energy to continue. And finally, there was a random thought, and I'm sure you have this. Random thought going, gosh, wouldn't it be great to just have that forgiven? Do you know, not more than a week later, he says to his wife, who's my good friend, you know, just tell Maryum, I'm going to rip up the last check she gave me, yes, and I'm forgiving the rest of the payment. Okay? So that is what we do in order to trust and have faith that God's taking care of us. Now in consciousness, you know, we do a lot of work here. We want to grow and we want to change, you know. Joanne does her Kundalini yoga, and a lot of you read, or whatever the case may be. Maybe you meditate, you do the Course in Miracles. It doesn't really matter. But what matters is that when we have a thought, and Jim Drever has been working with me the last 3 weeks, and he said, who is it that you really are? And now this is getting into some deep work, but I have to look at what I believe to be my story about myself. And so I want you to be present to who are you being and what is your story about yourself. And are you on the roller coaster and creating a lot of turns and twists and things that don't feel good? Or are you willing to just kind of coast along and enjoy like a gentle ride? Like I go to Disneyland and I go on the mini roller coaster. That's what I want in my life, okay? I don't want the, you know, Magic Mountain one, boom! And because I've had that, and we all have had that. We've created that in our lives. And so how do we not create it? We have to let go of believing that we have to have huge ups and downs. Are you willing to let go of that? Because that's really what we can do. So I look and I think, wow, I've had a lot of things going on in my life, and I think, what would it be like if I had this or I had that? And then I just pray and I surrender it up to Spirit, because that's how I do it. And that's really what it's about. And so every time I go to a meeting, I go on a trip, I do anything, I set my intention of what I desire to have, all right? And so now getting back to that trip. The trip was really fun because Art and I create our own fun. And we have a good time no matter where we are. You know, I remember, I think it was on, and maybe it was the Russian cruise too, and the same kind of thing. And we're not the life of the party. We're not, okay? We're not getting drunk and dancing on the tables. We're not. But who we are just steady and joy-filled within ourselves. And at the end of the day, I don't want to be the life of the party, do you? I want to be who I am, and I want you to be who you are. Because who you are is a blessing to the world. Who you are is spectacular. Because without your unique individuality and your wonderful way of being, there would not be a diverse world. There would not be a place where we get to experience all the various personalities, and we get to experience you and who you are. Because in my life, I'm like, I have, you know, I have my world, Maryum's world, Wayne's world, right? Mm-hmm. And you've got your own little world going on. But you can create whatever world you desire. And that's really what this is about. So we're all going to have the ups and downs. We're all going to have the little roller coaster, right? And we all are going to have that. But what happens at the end of the day is that we get present to who we are and how wonderful we are and how unique we are. Because without us in the world, it would be really boring. It would be like the movie The Stepford Wives, right? All the women were the same after they changed them into, what was it, robots or something? Whatever. Anyway, you don't want to be a robot. You want to be unique and who you are. And it could be that, I don't know, one of your things is maybe to somebody else they're not so present to it and they like it. But for you, we embrace who we are. So one of the things I wanted to, if I could get this back on, is just give you a little thing about the ups and downs and how to deal with them. So the first one is to relax. And a lot of times, relaxing is like taking a breath, doing some meditation, whatever you need to do, okay? Because then you feel like you're on track and you're able to be present. And then the second thing is to get moving, put on your dance shoes, take a walk, whatever, because what that does, that helps the endorphins and it helps us to feel better. How many of you sit there and you think, gee, I really feel kind of crummy, and you go take a walk and you feel terrific afterwards? That's because, exactly, that's because your brain has definitely got some little juice in it that it now can use in order to make you feel better. And then the other thing is to socialize, get out. You know, I always talk to people when I am counseling / life coaching people that get out and go to meetup, go do something. Go to a coffee shop, go meet somebody. It doesn't really matter, because when we socialize, that also, it's what Muriel was talking about. It gets us out of ourselves, and we can also go ahead and volunteer and do what we need to do, right? And then the other thing is to laugh regularly. Okay, I love cartoons. I love them. You know why I love them? Because I laugh. We saw Frozen 2 yesterday, and it was kind of a serious film, but then Olaf, you know, the little snowman, he's funny. And so it's looking at something, what inspires you, what gets you out of here? Because this is always chattering to us, okay? I'll talk to friends, they go, oh, I'm worried about this, I'm worried about that. And I go, well, who's creating the worry? And I don't mean that in a bad way, but how can we shift it? And neuro-linguistic programming is where we shift it. Let's say we get depressed about something, we get angry about something, and we have the ability to shift it and change it. And one of the ways is to laugh. I think it was Norman Cousins who played, I think, the Three Stooges, and he got healthy, and I believe he had, I don't know, cancer or something, and he was able to heal himself. The other thing is to eat well, drink water, you know, do whatever you need to do, but you don't want to eat candy all day, it's not going to serve you. And then to get sleep, Art's always saying, did you get good sleep last night? I'm like, kind of. Anyway, so that's another thing, you know, get the rest. And if you need to take a nap, my girlfriend always says to me, did you take a nap today? And I'm like, no, but I think I will. And then the other thing that we teach in Science of Mind is to look at your life as half full rather than half empty. Because what happens with us is that we tend to focus on the thorns, don't we? And we don't focus on the positive things in our lives. So I'm going to ask you to go out and focus on the roses in your life and focus on the positive things. So let's say something happens and there's a health condition, or I don't know, I'm going to say maybe somebody had something happen, you know, with their health. But then underneath that, so I'm going to use the example of my daughter. What she realized is that she wasn't taking care of herself. The thorn was getting cancer. The rose is she is now taking care of herself. She's exercising more. She's taking time. She's meditating. Are those, how many roses is that? 4 or 5 versus 1 thorn. And that's really what it's about. So when we get something like that, look underneath and see what creates the rose for you. And then the last one is finding meaning in our life. So for me, it's, you know, I looked at this job and it wasn't about making money as making a difference in people's lives. So on Monday nights, I'll have this feeling tone. Somebody will come and pray with me, because I always text me, when are you coming home? Are you still praying? Yeah, I'm still praying. So anyway, I'll walk away, somebody will walk out the door, and I get this, and I'm sure Muriel does this about serving, and I get the same way about serving and volunteering. I get a feeling, and I always say this about practitioner work, prayer work, whenever you're doing something for somebody, yoga, it doesn't matter. I get a feeling of well-being, and I feel amazing, and I'm like, you know, it's kind of like that old story in, oh shoot, I'm trying to think of the name of the books Jack Canfield wrote, you know, where they had all the little stories. Anyway, so where the kid is throwing the starfish out, you know, to the sea, and somebody walks up, and here's a half-full person, half empty, I should say. What are you doing that for? You're not going to, it doesn't matter, you're never going to be able to throw all these back in the sea. And the little boy says, well, as he throws another one, made a difference to that one. So that's really it, you know, for us to really focus on that part of it. And then one last tip is that nothing lasts forever. And that includes the good times and the bad times. So no matter what, we have to roll and go with what's so, and allow Spirit to shift us and grow us in a way. Because whatever's coming into our lives, where's the rose? Oh, where's the rose on that one? And really look at it. Because that way, that's how we evolve. That's how we grow. That's how we shift into another level of awareness and consciousness. And it wasn't about me on that trip extroverting being an extrovert and being the life of the party. I needed to do the inner work, okay? And I'm going to still do the inner work. And before the next trip, I'm going to really work and be present to who I am and the thoughts I'm creating. Because it was probably my thoughts that created that reality in my life. And as we do that, we're going to shift our world. So are you ready to create a new, not a drama? How about we create a comedy for our lives?
Yes.
A joyful comedy.
Yes.
I want to create that. I want to be the writer, the director. I want to have a joyful time. I want to be in a cartoon where everything turns out and there's always a happy ending. Okay? So that's really what we can create in our lives. And as we do that, we're going to shift our energy. Then people, I could sit there and be sitting in a chair and people be attracted to me, okay? And the same thing with you. Because as we shift who we are, as we allow ourselves to be present, as we allow ourselves to be, you know, Thich Nhat Hanh isn't exactly the great orator. You just look at him, he smiles, and you go, oh, isn't he cute? And that's really, and you look at his presence. We are attracted to the presence of the soul within each and every one of us. And as we let go and we allow that soul to shine out into the world, that's what it's about. So that's what this work at Center of the Heart is. It really is. And it's fabulous. Oh, it's a lot of being real with yourself too. Anybody want to be more real with yourself? So I'm going to close with this reading from Louise Hay, and this is from a book, what is the name of this book? Inner Wisdom, Meditations for the Heart and Soul. I am free and at peace. I'm going to channel my inner Thich Nhat Hanh. All right, today I am a new person. I relax and free my thoughts of every sense of pressure. No person, place, or thing can irritate or annoy me. I am at peace. I am a free person living in a world that is a reflection of my own love and understanding. I am not against anything. Rather, I am for everything that will improve the quality of my life. I use my words and my thoughts as tools to shape my future. I express gratitude and thanksgiving often, and I look for things to be thankful for. I am relaxed. I live a peaceful life, and so it is.
So
Thank you, beloveds. Go and find some roses this week, especially if you're with your family, and just know that all is well, and God loves you so much. Peace and blessings. Okay, and